Welcome to EDC Journeys. This is a review of the TwoSun Model 264. I think it should be called the Megalodon, so that's what I'm calling it. The TwoSun 264 Megalodon. I'm starting a campaign. Enjoy the video. What's going on, EDC people, and what is our journey today? I don't even know. I love every one of these knives, and for different reasons. Like, I can explain each of them why I would grab that one. Does that make sense to you? If it does, I think you have an illness that I've recently contracted, which is some kind of bite that you get when you collect knives. We need to find some help. Let's start off with today's primary carry. Pretty much, I had this in my left pocket, which is the Not Soft Arkansas pouch with my Rough Rider Barlow and my Fisher Space Pen. Take note, put an asterisk by the Fisher Space Pen, and if I remember, let's talk about that at the end. Fisher Space Pen, remind me before we finish. And the Civivi Rustic Gent, really as my primary knife today, as a very not busy day today. Thanksgiving weekend or whatever. My daughter's here. Not much is gonna happen. But I love this knife, and it could do quite a bit if it needed to, right? And it's beautiful. And for a backlock, I almost get the feeling of like admitting that I cheated on somebody when I say that I like this knife and it has a backlock. I've literally never cheated on somebody in my life, but I feel like admitting to the public that I like a backlock feels like I'm admitting that I'm cheating on somebody. I like this knife a lot. It is super slicey, and the slip that it comes with is aces, and the lanyard that Jason Guilfoyle made for me, well, not for me, but for himself, and then when he gave me the knife, came with it, is awesome. And not to utilize the cross in a negative way, but man, you can whip that knife right out of there just as you'd like. And putting it back, you're always looking where you put it back, but sometimes you need to pull it out without looking, if you know what I mean. That said, let me think. I'm already losing battery life, and I have all these knives, and the sun is going down, and I want a natural light. This is all natural light right now, if that makes any difference to people viewing this. This video is supposed to be about the, well, TwoSun 264, TS264, an M390 designed by Mazwan Mokhtar. Hang on one second. Anyways, the TwoSun TS264 with an M390 blade, designed by Mazwan Mokhtar. We'll discuss the Stingray at the end if my battery doesn't die. But that's what I have here on the box. Titanium, carbon fiber, TwoSun 264 M390. I'll tell you all about it before the end. But before my battery dies, let me find the knife. Okay, I've shown you this before, I think, and this is not the review, but I want to talk about this a little further just because it's really kind of taken my fancy. As my dad would have said probably a long time ago. Take a look at this knife. That tall blade is all M390. The titanium is, I believe, TI grade 6. If not, it's 4, but I believe it's 6. You have carbon fiber inlays, completely 100%, you know, like that inlay, that chunk of carbon fiber is fully, what is that, marbled, I think they call it? Carbon fiber. And while I'm right here, I'll zoom in closer and let you look at the micro milling on the titanium. I'm trying to hold it as steady as I can, but I'm sure you can see that. All those little things, while they're so minuscule and hard to see at a distance, and they add up to textile feedback, I guess I would say. And so take a look at, well, let me shut this big huge M390 blade before I cut myself, but take a look at the hardware on this. How many screws do you see on the show side? Because from my count I see 1, which is T8, by the way. Okay, one screw on the show side. That's it. The rest is what you wanted, your carbon fiber, right? Or your titanium. But, you know, this is, I think, beautiful. And look at the pivot cover. You have no bit mark, you know, no bit there. It's a cover or whatever the hell it's called. And then we'll flip over to the lock bar side. Obviously, you now have your Torx bit, which is T8. You have a steel insert reinforced lock bar, or whatever that's called, but that's T6. But why would you take that out? Basically, as far as I'm concerned, you know, at least in the semi long term. But you could. And then here's, let me try not to cut myself as I look through the camera. Here's the lock bar side. Okay, so you see the bit here at the clip, which is T8, just like the pivot. Okay, so really, even on the lock bar side, you have just the pivot and the lock bar reinforcement, the stainless steel. So while I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I'm zoomed in on the clip, and I just kind of wanted to show you the micro milling also extends to the titanium clip, which is titanium and was shown to be, you know, with a magnet on this very exact model. I'll tell you about that at the end when I tell you about the box. It'll all make sense when I get there. But take a look. Let me zoom out before I forget, because I always do. I just think that's a stunning knife. I really do. I mean, you have minimal hardware. I don't know how much less you could have. There's a bar that runs through here, connects through the I guess you could call it backspacer, through the clip, the pocket clip, into this bit, which is T8, which is what we want, with a pivot, which is T8, which is what we want, which is fixed, which is what we want, with the show side that's artistic and not hardware, right, or whatever. In other words, there's not some big honking bit mark in the middle of the show side. With one screw on the show side, look at the billboarding. Do you see any? Because I was about to wipe it off and show it to you, but it's gone. There's none. There's nothing on this thing, except for in little somewhere. I don't even remember where it is, and I'm trying to remember. I'm looking through the camera trying to find it, which is kind of weird. There it is. I'm gonna zoom in on it. I'm slowly turning it in our direction. See that? M390. That's what you're gonna find on this huge blade. That's it. I mean, and we know that, through testing, that basically TwoSun, their materials have been checked time and time again to be authentic. So there's no reason to assume that of all knives, this one would be any different at this point anyways, of course. What I was talking about was how there was minimal billboarding on the blade, which is awesome, right? Plus it's this huge overstated blade, which is badass if you ask me. It's got optimum straightness, a great belly, and it's tall and it's flat ground from top to bottom. I took the measurements, but I'm not going to do that statistic stuff until I actually do the review. Well, I guess I should tell you if you want to know. Okay, this might as well just be the review. The sun has gone down, so the lighting has changed throughout this video, so it's kind of been a fun, not that my lighting's ever well done, but I'm just saying, usually I try to use as much natural light as I can, and the sun just had gone down, so I just turned that big spotlight thing on. So basically, your blade measurement was 3 1/4 inches long. That's what I got anyways. I have no idea what the website says. These measurements I took, so you should definitely double check them if there's any legality issues. As always, know your local laws with your knives, just like firearms and things like that. These are channels that you watch are advisements, and or whatever the correct word for that is, and if it's illegal for you to carry this, don't do it. That's just a general disclaimer. I just want to say that. 3 1/4 inches long. The handle is 4 1/4 inches long for 7.5 total inches long. Okay. Comes in at a straight 4 ounces, perfectly on the scale. I already took the measurements before the video just to keep moving along. The stock thickness we were talking about just a couple seconds ago, or whatever, is about 3.8 millimeters. I'm pretty sure probably if I grabbed it right at the perfect thickness spot, it would have been 4 millimeters. I'm sure probably this is a 4 millimeter stock. Well, while it's out, let's look at the choil. That, again, and this is to reinforce what I said about the 4 millimeter stock. The choil stock I measured right there at the thickest at 4 millimeters. So that kind of makes me feel like if I got it just at that thickest spot, it would have been 4 millimeters also. I'm not. I gotta read up. I still haven't done my homework on measurements of behind the edge. Let me show you what's obvious. You can hold it from behind, and it's obviously meant the two sides are put together to look like an integral knife, or a long backspace, or however you want to look at it or argue it. But that same whatever that feature of that comfort, that tactile feel in your hand, is there in this knife. So it's extremely comfortable to me anyways. If you like that thing, then it would be to you too. In the back, position, the jimping is meaningful. It's comfortable. It's cool. It's a great knife. It's extremely slicey, and it has a forward choil. So 2 things, guys. I just overheard on the news in the background that Dave Prowse, the guy who played Darth Vader, died, which sucks. That's like a kind of like a second uncle dying, maybe a third uncle. Anyways, I almost left out one of the most important things to talk about. Look at this. You see this? Looks like a chip almost from a distance. It's the forward finger choil where that's the blade. That's the bevel. I'm gonna shine the bevel off the light. See that? See that shine right there? Okay. You see this? I hope you do. It's basically just an outline of a finger, right? It makes very little difference to me. The bottom line is, you just sharpen it, and even if you work it down that far, it doesn't matter. So yes, it kind of does look a little sketchy from, I guess, the distance. It might look like a chip, but I don't think you notice it until you are told about it almost. Really comfortable, nothing bad to say about it. I really like this knife. There's no two bones about it. They went all out. There's a ceramic detent ball. It is a ceramic detent track to rewind or retract the blade. There's ceramic multi-roll ball bearings, marbled carbon fiber with minimal hardware, T8 screws, thumb stud deployment. I almost forgot one more thing, and it happens to be really important. The thumb studs, the form of deployment. First of all, that's the form of deployment. It's not a flipper, even though there is a spot, and I have to say, LTK kind of pointed it out to me, and now I can't not see it. It's it kind of looks like there was supposed to be a flipper there, but there's not. It's just thumb studs. You flip it, the thumb studs are the stop pin. Okay, kind of like some other knives, but very strong, very hard to have any side-to-side play when it's locked. I think it's pretty important to know that. Extreme contact, almost looking like an integral design. The clip has a little ball on it and is very easy to get over the pocket, at least it was for me. It has a steel insert on the lock bar. It's M390 in T6 titanium. I like the knife. There's no two bones about it. And then I'll show you just a couple flicks real quick. I just adjusted the pivot because I noticed there was a little bit of blade play. Now there's none, and I'll show you that in a second. But so it's the action is awesome. Just let's put it that way. You could, if you like it a little looser, you can do that. There's room for that. If you like it tighter, it's easy. And look at the blade to handle ratio. It's right up to the end. Look at how fast the stock builds up. It's a thick knife. Like it's definitely, and it's a full flat grind from that tall. There's no name for this yet, but I think I think it should be called the Megalodon. I think it looks like a shark, and I think this should be called the Megalodon. I do have some other TwoSun products that I love. I haven't found actually, and I've passed some along, given away, and traded. But where is that other little guy? He's made his debut by cutting the top of my finger off. Where is he? He's coming out. He's coming out just because he did that to me. The little front flipper that it took me forever to figure out, and I still can't quite do, apparently. At least not on camera. Okay, there we go. This one's a Wong design. I've had a couple of his, and those are nice. This is Mazwan Mokhtar. This is a TwoSun pen, believe it or not. They do a couple. I haven't found a product of theirs that they don't go all out on the materials, and they get such little recognition. Actually, like their material, it feels as if, at least from what I understand from listening to other channels, or basically Love Them Knives, LTK, they pick up young designers who are up and coming, basically. I mean, because there's no reason. Could you not see that as a Riet? I mean, I wouldn't ever shock me if that was on the screen one day, you know, having not seen it before. I'm just saying. The action's awesome. There's room for play, at least on this exact model. I'm sure it's fine. If I haven't mentioned, there's a lock bar, not a lock bar, but a bar that goes through from the screw to the clip. That's what holds the back together. I will include a link to this LTK knife. And as I close this video out, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the box. I got this one from him, and I'm just so grateful for him. And I only have 10% left, and I forgot that I'd already happened. So anyways, this is the very one he had on his review. Remember this one if you saw his video? If you didn't, you should go check out his channel, and if you don't know who he is, subscribe. Love them knives, LUV them knives. Originally, apparently, he had a conversation, you'll hear it in his video, but he had a conversation with the designer. He wanted to call it the Stingray, but he forgot he already had one called the Stingray, so it's kind of funny. So, once again, I think Megalodon. Look at him. Right? Okay, guys. Apparently, this has turned out to be a review. This is the TwoSun TS264 by Mazwan Mokhtar and TwoSun. So that's it, guys. That's what I think should be the Megalodon. And what I wanted to go back to earlier when I was mentioning my traditional, my Fisher Space Pen. I've had this for years, and it still writes well, and I like it. But the refill for it is still kind of expensive, if I remember right. And I don't know how much that is, actually, but I'm kind of just assuming in a way. But so what I do use it quite often, but this pen, the TwoSun pen, which is titanium and has a bolt action tactical thing with a clip, actually takes regular refills as well. So it's very easy to do, and it's very not time saving, but cost saving, and you get to have a pretty badass pen, if you ask me. And as far as I know, the ano on this was done by Jason Guilfoyle, and the pen is from Jason Guilfoyle. He gave this to me. Isn't that beautiful? TwoSun. Oh, and that's right. One last note. I keep wanting to show you guys these Veneve stones. I can't remember the line that they are. I think they're the Centaur line. They're the Veneve Industrial Diamonds, or VID. They come from Gritomatic, basically, which is out of Russia. So you'll actually get a package, when you order these from Moscow, in fact. I mean, we're talking like straight up customs and all kinds of different stuff. Russian Post.ru. It's pretty cool though. They have a very good reputation as really cool diamond stones. Why are you so low? There we go. So these are the two stones that they sent me, and each stone is double-sided. And if you look, one side is 100/80 and the other side is 50/40. To somebody, that makes perfect sense. Those are microns. I did have the grits written down somewhere, and naturally I can't find the page I wrote them on. but I believe that essentially, I spoke to Jeff Jewell, and he said basically the higher the number, the grittier it is. So this black side is the 100/80. This is the 50/40. I would have to just, it's just a simple Google search away, but what 50/40 is in microns to grits or whatever. And then I go to this way, and we have 7/5 followed by 3/2. So in other words, there's basically 4 abrasive surfaces here, and that's pretty cool. And I know that these aren't large, and I kind of wish that these were just a touch. I actually kind of like the size that they are, because I really do enjoy sharpening in my hand. Like I do better sharpening with the stone in my hand like this, okay, where I can feel the angle and I can see the shade, and I pull down all the way to the tip, and then I pull forward. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have control in both hands, it almost feels like. And you hear that squeaking? That's me pulling directly on that bevel. That's because I have no water on here. You do use Veneve stones with water. I'll have a whole video on these Veneve stones. I just wanted to show you them again. I can't wait to do them with you guys. We'll do a whole knife, it'll be great. We'll use the brick, it'll be beautiful. Hey, thanks for watching EDC Journeys. This is a group of people who have inspired me to make this channel, and I just wanted to show you their stickers.